Good morning, good afternoon, maybe good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us, for those who have joined us. And is this our first one of the year or second one of the year? I
No,
think
no,
we,
no, no, no. We've done
yeah.
done some campfires already.
Okay.
This is our
Uh,
first one in a long time, though.
First one in a while. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll call that. Hi, Victor. Where are you calling from, Victor, or where are you dialing in from? Yeah, it's like a old time person. Where are you dialing in from, or where are you zooming in from, Victor? Bulgaria. Wow.
Okay,
Very
cool.
cool. All right. I'm in Houston, Texas. Nice gray, dreary day here today, but that's all
Yeah.
right. Um, all right. Well,
Belgium here, and it is gray as well. So yeah,
yeah, but
that's a
that's
bit
normal.
closer to Bulgaria, but not that close.
All right. Well, Victor, glad you're here. And Reg123, can you hear us okay? We'll go ahead and respond when he responds or they respond. All right. Yeah. So thank you all for being here. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to either drop them in Zoom chat, or raise your hand, or of course you can also drop them in the Discord chat. I'll be monitoring, both channels. But yeah, without further ado, Tristan, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, let's go. So, thank you for joining our first campfire in a long time. First of all, the reason why we are now doing bi-weekly campfires instead of weekly campfires, maybe that's interesting for you to know, um, is just a matter we want to focus as much as time as possible on getting the platform working as prime in prime condition as possible. So every single hour that we can save, that we can then spend on fixing bugs or creating new features in NoCodeX is an hour one in our mind. But that doesn't matter. That communication is not also important. That's why we will keep doing these campfires um, um, every 2 weeks. Hopefully, they will be also every 2 weeks very packed with new features, new bug fixes, and of course, the most important thing, feedback from you all. Without further ado, let me show you a thing or two of what we have been doing. And let me tell you a little bit of what we will be doing in the near future as well. So, the last few weeks were primarily about fixing some of the issues that are in NoCodeX, fixing some of the, or let's just call them adding quality of life updates to NoCodeX. Our primary concern is still getting rid of as much as friction as possible. You will probably see this in the things that I am about to show in a second. So let me share my screen. Share it. Voila. Are you seeing NoCodeX right now? Yeah, I guess you are. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So the first thing that I wanted to show you is something that was a bit frustrating because you could have a parameter to an action that was of type date, but there was never a possibility to configure your tests by adding a certain value for that date because simply this was not implemented yet. So what we've done is we've implemented the date picker on this part, so you can now safely test also those actions that require a date as an input parameter. So in this case, we have the last scrape date as an input parameter for this action. Notice here that we've also implemented the date picker for the default value of this parameter. This action just goes and fetches vendors from my database. Vendor is a table in my database, and it checks if the scraped date is less than the last scraped date. And if we now check the tests, and if we take some date today apparently in 2025, and we execute this test, we will see in the logs, this is the fetch a list of data records trace in our log. We will see that we have like a total amount of 5. And if we make this, for example, um, some other value, let's just do something like this. We should have less than 5, a total amount of 0. So as you can see, you can control the last scrape date from this part. Of course, if you hit save, and then from that point on, you hit this run test button, this will always use the value that you saved for this test. Now notice a little bit of a quality of life update here as well. Every time I save, or every time I update an action, you will see this icon being red until the action is completely saved in the database, and then you can safely test the new state of your action. It was quite kind of annoying sometimes that you hit play here and you wouldn't see the last result of your action. Now you're absolutely sure if the button turns green, then you're sure the last version of your action will be tested out. Now, a little bit about the action editor as well. We are actually we are still working on it, but we've done a quite rehaul of the entire action editor, which should not be visible in new features, but it is a real what we call a refactoring. It is a really optimized version of the action editor, which should feel much better with regards to performance. It will be much faster once we release this. As I said, we are still working on it a little bit. We here and there have some issues that we have noticed that came along with this refactoring. So we are still fixing these issues, and once these issues have been fixed, we are ready to promote this refactoring to production. I heard some questions in the chat, Steve. Is that correct?
No, Eddie just having problems getting in, so no
Okay.
question there yet. Just working with Eddie, try to get him in.
Okay. So some other fixes that we've done. If you go to vendor, you might. I don't know if I ever shown this in a campfire. This is also not on my list to show, but I just thought of it. But data has been moved to another field, so to another place in NoCode-X. So it used to be a button right here where you could view the data, and then you would have to select which data format that you want to view the data on, and then you can go from there. Now we've changed it because we have the data formats in our folder structure anyway. So you just select the data format and then select the top data, and then you see all the data for that particular data format. Now there are some quality of life fixes that we have done on this screen as well. I'm sure there will be plenty to follow, but let me pick configuration quickly, because that's where I prepared some of the data to show you. Now there is an inline editor of data in this screen. So let me show you, for example, on vendor, I have a couple of vendors. You can click this edit button, and then you see your data as a JSON file, which is great, which allows you to freely edit anything in this file. However, there is a convenient way of also making changes to your data by just double clicking the field in this records in the data table, and then updating it and just getting out of the field, and then the field will automatically be saved. Now this has always worked, but it didn't work perfectly. did we do now to get a quality of life on this part for each and every type or for each and every possible type of column or of field in your data schema. We have created a way of editing this data. So, for example, in this case, which is a number, you have up and down buttons. Of course, you can add the number themselves, but you cannot add text to this field. So there is a validation on this one as well. A Boolean, you can switch off, you can switch on. You have a little bit of text, that's a normal field. Again, here number, I've already shown it to you guys. A little bit of a bigger text allows you to add a little bit of a bigger text in this field. And then a date, for example, you can again pick a date and a time, and this will be saved in the correct date format that we expect in NoCode-X. Then, of course, a single select allows you to select some options here. This can also be inline edited. Now, there are still some options, some types that we haven't covered yet. We will cover them in the next couple of weeks, each and every type. Every time we do an update to NoCode-X, we will add a new type that can be covered. And types to be covered are simple like list, object, email, URL. Those are all fields where we can add an inline editor to with a little bit of validation in place. So at the moment, email and URL, password as well, they use the normal text editor, but we will add a little bit of quality in the next coming weeks, where we will add extra validation on email and URL for those fields as well. File, we will add an upload, etc. User, we will add a selection of the users in your database, and so on, until for each and every type we have a proper inline editor edit field that allows you to safely edit your data according to all the necessary validation rules. For now, I'm gonna hit pause for a second and ask if there are any questions up until now.
Don't see anything anywhere.
Okay, if there are no questions, we can continue with the next part. Please also remark or notice here that there is no longer a name and a description for date records. We have removed that because since the new view, which is only a couple of months old, we can name and description does not really make any more sense. So we removed this, and there is still one part where it is still in NoCode-X, but this is on our to-do list to remove it, and that part is when you create a new piece of action, a new piece of record, new data record in your database. Using an action, that's where you will still see name. Now it doesn't matter if this name is being filled in or not. It doesn't cause any issues, but we will remove it and clean it up in the near future. This is actually planned for, if I'm not mistaken, next week. So let's continue. We've also improved our AI assistant a little bit. So as I mentioned before, this is an ongoing iterative process where we keep on improving what our AI assistant can do until it can do just about anything. I have here an example function or action actually, which I called process vendors. It has no parameters, but please notice that we have a vendor database, a vendor data schema, and this vendor data schema has a couple of a couple of fields, like for example, website name, scraped, which is the last scraped date, and then some internal links and maybe a screenshot. And we have a configuration which, well, it contains a couple of fields. Let me remove them because I don't need them anymore. I've demoed it, but the most important one is the vendor scrape threshold months. And if I go to the data, you'll see that I have one data record exactly for this in my data base, and it contains a vendor scraped threshold month value, value 4. So with that in mind, let me go back to process vendors and let me ask our AI assistant to create us some logic. And I'll ask it to fetch each vendor from the database that has either scraped equals 0 or null, or scraped being a date that is older than 3 months. Make 3 months configurable by fetching that from a configuration data schema as well. And then I'll ask for each vendor log the website in the application log. So I'm gonna set the put the AI to work, and while the AI starts working on that, we'll show you the next quality of life update. So let me switch to my normal company here in or my normal workspace here in localhost. So one of the other things that we've done is we have here the payments data table or data schema in my database. This has no records at all at the moment. And you guys know that we can create new data records based on a CSV. Now, there was a small problem with this. I'll show you the CSV that I have prepared for this. This is a really simple CSV with 2 fields, a vendor ID, which is filled in here, and a payment, which is filled in here. Now, remark that these are all currency patterns. So it follows the same pattern always, a currency, and then an actual number with 2 decimals. Now, this one is a bit incorrect because it doesn't follow that exact same pattern. Now, if I go back to my data schema at the moment, you will see that I have vendor ID, which is a text, and currency, which is of type currency. And this actually expects everything to be in that exact same pattern, being a currency, and then for example, US dollars, or even the dollar sign, and then a number with 2 decimals. And so it used to be that you could create data from CSV, but if there was one record incorrect in your CSV, you would never see an actual error. So you would see, oh, I only have like, excuse me, I only have like 5 records being uploaded, but I have 6 records in my CSV. So, and I don't know why. So that's quite annoying. And that is a lot of friction going on there. And we decided to get rid of that friction by giving you some feedback on your CSV. So if you once you upload the CSV right now, you will see exactly in what line there is an actual error and what the actual error is. Now, I do have to note that we still have a little bit of work on getting the error messages as clear as possible, but we didn't want to withhold this this quality of life update until we get all the error messages as clear as possible. I think it can help you even now, as long as you know on which line something is going wrong and which field actually. And this is a bit of an well, does not match the regex pattern. We should get that a little bit more clear for those that do not know what a regex pattern is. But at least you have an error list for each CSV that you upload. And by the way, if I now hit refresh, you will see that I have uploaded every single record in my CSV that is correct. All the records that aren't correct, of course, could not be uploaded because of because of that issue. Now let's head back to our AI for a second. So the AI decided to add a flow and then asks if I want to do anything else. Let's see what the AI created. So first of all, the AI fetched a configuration. It's just a search one data record, so it thinks that there is only one configuration in the database, which is correct. And then it checks if the configuration has been found. Oh, I think I pressed something. Here we are. If the configuration has been found or not. So if it is not found, it will say scrape configuration not found, aborting process. If it is found, it will try to calculate the threshold date. So this is now minus months, and the amount of months is the actual value in vendor scrape threshold months. So it will come up with the date now minus, I believe in the database we have 4 months. Then it'll fetch some vendors from the database, and it'll look for vendors that have scraped equal to null, or scraped that is less than the threshold date output, which is actually what's coming from this create date right here. And this is a new part right here, is where we can actually loop over these things, these vendors. Well, we could of course loop over these vendors always, but and now also the AI can use this for each loop. So this is something that we've added. And what does it do? It logs the website as we requested it to do in the application log. So please notice that this is a new action that has been created by the AI. If I hit refresh right here, you should see that action popping up right here, log vendor website. So it always creates the action in the same folder as the parent action is. So let's execute this, because this should work out of the box. So if we click play, you will see you will see the green borders indicating every single block that actually has been executed, and this one is not being surrounded by a green border, which actually means that we have a configuration in our database and we are not following this branch at all. So let's see what is going on. I can see that this fetch scrape configuration returns an item from my database. I can see that this item is not null because I found it in my database, of course. We created a date being somewhere in October, if I'm not mistaken. Voila. And then we fetch outdated vendors, a list of vendors that haven't been scraped since then, which is a total amount of 7. And as you can see, these are the vendors in my database. And then we do the for each, and then we end with a subflow. And if I now check my application logs, we will see that for each for each vendor that we have found, the websites are being logged in the application log. So let's try and make it do something more interesting. Instead of logging the website for each vendor, please take a screenshot of the website and store it in the media library. Let's see. Well, this is really the untested part of my demo, so let's see if this AI can handle that. In the meanwhile, while this AI is doing that, let's go to the next part of one of the fixes that we've done. We've got this dashboard that I've set up, and the reason why I've set up this dashboard is because this contains some elements. It contains, it is not a simple page, it is a bigger page. It contains quite some elements. And we had a problem when you had to copy a template that contains some elements, quite a number of elements. The reason was copying templates is an asynchronous process. So what happens is we start copying it in the background, and in the background at some point we are done. Now, what was the issue there? If you copy it, you would see the copied template in your folder structure, and you could click it already. And if not all the elements were by then copied completely, excuse me, you would have an empty screen, and this would remain like this, or a half empty screen, and this would remain like this until you completely refreshed the application. So we had to fix that. That was annoying. So we want to have you copy and opening the copied template up as soon as possible. So what we added here is once this copy is done, I will see dashboard copy in my page, and now we have this loading screen that will change into the copied template once the template is completely done. Now, let's switch. While this is copying, let's switch back to our AI, which is still running. No problem. We will then, I think, maybe we can go on to another next thing in our list. So we can open up this one. And so I'll do this again. So on the workspace level, you have an edit button, which allow you to edit all kinds of things. So as you can see, while we were waiting, the copied template was popped up. I also, something that I forgot to mention, there was a bit of a bug here and there where copied elements were in the wrong order when they were in vertical or horizontal list after they were copied. So this bug was also fixed during the creation of this new thing that I showed you. So back to the authentication part really here. So this is a screen which allows you to edit some settings with regards to your workspace. So for example, you can edit here your workspace subdomain suffix, etc. You can invite new developers to your workspace. You can look at your billing details here. And maybe the very interesting part that I wanted to show you guys is, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, is the authentication tab here, which allows you to tweak everything with regards to authentication for your applications that you built. Now, the thing that I'm showing you, this was always in NoCode-X, but we've given this page a bit of a better look, a bit of a more overviewed look, in order for you to find more easily what you need. So for example, the authentication pages. So if you want to create a custom login page, you can just find it here within your templates in your application and hook it up, and then this login page will be used. Identity providers, if you have your own identity provider. So for example, you want to log in through one of your own identity providers, that's fine. If you want to use for example Google or the identity provider of Meta, you can start configuring that here as well. And then a part on API security. Now the thing that I skipped is security policies. And this is an entirely new thing that allows you to set some timeouts on your security, and also some timeouts with regards to security, and also your password policy. So the timeouts that you can adjust here are the session idle timeout and the session offline timeout, which are actually timeouts. Everything is explained here what it does. These are actually timeouts that will make sure that your users have to re-authenticate after being idle for a predefined set of time. So at this point, with this configuration, users can be idle for 2 hours and then they will have to re-authenticate. Now, of course, I can change this to a number like, for example, 60 days, which will be very convenient for the users to remain logged in. Now, don't forget to add Remember Me enabled here if you want to surpass this through more than one day. So then you need this Remember Me. You can also configure login timeouts, which are actually timeouts that will occur when the user waits too long on the login page. These are security measures that are in place, but you can now configure them by yourself. And user initiated action lifespan are really timeouts that occur on, for example, a user requests a new password. So there is a password mail being sent to the user's mailbox. Of course, there is a timeout on how long the reset password link in that mail will remain valid. This can be also changed through this screen. Now, every user's password must expire someday, but you can now configure how long it will take for those users' passwords to expire as well. And here, maybe the most interesting part is that you can actually start configuring the password policy for your passwords. You can say, okay, I want more than the minimum of 8 character, which is something that we highly suggest you do. So let's head back and let's see. So the AI has updated the logic to iterate through outdated vendors. For each vendor with a valid website URL, the program will now take a screenshot of the website and store the resulting image file in the media library. If a vendor does not have a website URL, a warning message will be logged. I also corrected several syntax errors in the original code to ensure it is valid and executable. So let us check out what this AI actually did. So it checks if the website tries to add a default value to this website. I don't think that would have been necessary, but it doesn't hurt. Then it checks if the website URL check name is null. So this one is null. It logs that this vendor doesn't have a website URL. Then it takes a screenshot of this web page. So if I'm not mistaken, this web page should then result in a screenshot file, and then it creates this file in the media library, and it ends again with a subflow. So let's try and let's see what's happening here. So this could take a little bit more, a little bit longer than before. I think I've requested the execution to start. I'm just checking this. Yeah. So it's actually working. I can see it right here, but it is failing on certain websites because the websites are not actually real. But let me check my media library. So as you can see, I now have one that is created just now, I believe. Yeah. And this is a screenshot of a certain website, Sinner Tech Solutions Ltd. So this is a real website. So we should find it between our vendors right here. Sinner Tech Solutions. Let's visit this website and see if this screenshot is pretty okay. So as you can see, the screenshot has been taken for this website, and I should be getting more and more screenshots in my media library as we progress. So this is another one. I'll zoom in a little bit where dot services ask me for consent on cookies. So this is actually what the AI created actually works. Of course, sometimes there is an issue probably because of websites not existing. For example, the thing that I see here in my logs is acmesolutions.com. If I'm not mistaken, this will give me an error. So as you can see, an error for this website. Yeah. So, but that is to be expected. So let's move on to another thing that we've done. We've also done the following. There was a way, so there was always a way to get data from the database by using an ID. I think that is the most basic query that you want to do in an application. You have an identifier and you want to get a record from your database based on that identifier. That function is called fetch data record by identifier. But we also have another function, search one data record, which actually allows you to search one. So you expect one result from the database, but you can filter that result. So you can search a database which have like over maybe 100 records, and you can filter it, and based on some attributes, and the result from that filtering is what you expect to be one record. So that's what is being used. For example, when I open up process vendors, I search for configuration. I add no filters because I don't need any filters in this case. But I only expect one configuration to return from the database. Of course, if your database has multiple configurations, no error will occur. It will pick the first one that it finds. Of course, you probably have then a mistake in your database with regards to data, so you'd have to fix that. But what I am actually hinting at, this search one data record had the opportunity or had the possibility to select identifier here as a filter as well, which makes it more or less a duplicate of fetch data record by ID. Now, this did not work properly. This did not work properly. So we fixed it. So we fixed this search one data record by ID so that it works with an identifier as well. And of course, it can be combined with other filters as well. If you want to make sure, for example, if this could be like in a security point of view, this could be something that you want to do. Let's just say that you have a user. This user has a user ID, and you want to find, for example, a company linked to this user. You could use for which you already have an identifier, but you could then search on the identifier and the user ID as an extra check to make sure that this user is actually linked to the company from which you have the identifier coming, for example, from your URL or something like that, which is something that you would use search one data record for. So now this works perfectly fine. As you can see in the trace log, I have one Cidertech solutions coming into my my log file. Now I'm gonna pause again and ask if there are any questions up until now.
Let me double check Discord. I didn't see any a minute ago. But I have a comment. This all looks amazing, and also awesome to see the AI knock that web apps or website screenshot out of the park. That's pretty cool. That is awesome.
Thanks.
Let's see. Nothing on Discord and nothing in Zoom, question wise.
Okie doke. Let's then continue. I have two more topics to talk about. The first one is another thing that we have fixed, and maybe I have 2.5 topics to talk about. So another thing that we have fixed was with regards to global variables, right? So global variables, we all know global variables can be set using actions. In this case, like for example here, I add a global variable which I conveniently named global underscore variable, and I've given it the value ncx just as a matter of test. Now these global variables can then be used by using placeholders on your page in such a way. So you do the curly brackets thing, double curly brackets, name of the global variable, and then close the double curly brackets. Now, if I would test this page, you should see the value of your global variable in that place that I added as a placeholder. Now, we had a small problem because during 2025, we added the possibility to actually use also those global variables in actions. And the actions that we are using it in or were using it in, what would you have to do to be able to use those global variables? Simply add a parameter with the same type and the same name as your global variable. So let me do this real quickly in this action, and let us add something to the log right here. And if all goes well, when I execute this action, we should see ncx in our log. So I'm gonna quickly reload this page. I'm gonna hit next page. Yeah, I should have buzzed the cache. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting that I have to buzz the cache on this local host that I'm working on. So if I now hit next page and I check my application logs, which I should see here as well, of course. I should see here a blue button. I click the blue button and I see that this box here writes out ncx. Well, of course, I can also check my application logs. All of them are gathered here, and I see ncx again. So I can use those global variables in actions. Now, there was a small problem when you linked an action to an onload trigger of another page. Because we had a racing condition where these particular actions that were linked on the onload of another page would not have access to those global variables. So we fixed that. So now you can use global variables all over NoCode-X. So the example that I wanted to show you is here page 1 will go from one page to another by routing to page 2, and page 2 has nothing of elements, but it has an onload which does the simple act of writing the global variable to the application log. And this works perfectly now. So if of course I have to bust the cache again because I made a change. But if I now go to next page, let me reload this page real quick. Now I go to next page, you'll see the empty page. This is page 2. And we should see a new entry, which is right now 1751, which is right now, this is a new entry in the logs. And I will prove it by clicking go to action right here, which opens up the action that actually writes out this log, and this is the global variable to the application log function that we've linked to the page 2. How can I prove it that it is linked to the page 2? Something else that we can show is by hitting this button right here, you should see wherever this action is being linked to. But this is something that we will be doing in the couple of days that come after this campfire. Is there was a small bug here which showed too much links. So maybe I show it with yeah. So we're fixing this at the moment. That's why we cannot see any result. But there was a bug here that has shown too much links because it also included indirect links. So we are filtering these indirect links to show only the direct links, so you have a proper vision on where actions are being called and what actions call other action. That's a small side note here. So this is something we are still working on, and we will of course only release it when we are completely satisfied with the result. Now, another thing that I wanted to show you, and this is something that I find personally very, very cool, and this opens up a lot of possibilities as well. Every single place in NoCodeX where you can use placeholders, you can also use these kinds of, let's just call them templating logic. And this can work with global variables, but also with template parameters. So feel free to investigate this. But for example here, if my global variable equals ncx, I shall say this is the abbreviation of NoCodeX. In the other case, here is some text created by NoCodeX. So let's see what is being written out. So my global variable is ncx. Here is this is the abbreviation of NoCodeX. So let's quickly change this action here, or this global variable, to contain ncx2 instead of ncx. And if we now reload, of course, bust the cache. Steve, you have to remind me to bust the cache. You have to start reminding me. But now if I reload this page, you can see that here is some text created by ncx. And this works with titles, this works with images, this works with everything where you can use placeholders in NoCodeX. So that's quite a lot. And I'll tell you a little bit more. This is not the only thing. So if then else is not the only structure that you can actually include in these placeholders. But everything that is on this website, liquidjs.com, which is a templating engine which we use inside NoCodeX, everything, including the for each, including the if, else, if, echo, decrement, cycle, everything that you want to use, you can actually use in these places where you can use placeholders on the UI elements in NoCodeX. So this opens up a lot of possibility with regards to logic for showing for doing the front end part of your application. Then, if there are no questions with regards to this, then we can move on to the last part of my campfire. And I'm just gonna wait. Steve, have you seen any questions coming into the chat?
No, and no.
Okay, so we are still working on CodeGenX. We are continuously working on CodeGenX. We are improving CodeGenX quite a lot, and we have made quite some good progress as well. Now we will in the next couple of weeks, we will probably give you another demo on CodeGenX. For those that don't know what CodeGenX is actually getting code from NoCodeX. So at the moment we do not generate code, we interpret our abstraction layer in order to serve your applications. once code Gen X is done, you can actually retrieve the code from NoCode-X, which will allow you to either run it on NoCode-X, which will still be a possibility, of course, or run it on your own servers, or even change the code that was created by NoCode-X for you, and then run it on your own server, and so on. So this is still a work in progress. So I want to reassure you that we are still working on this. We've made a lot of progress, and you can expect from us a demo in the near future that will allow you to see the progress we've done there. That being said, this is not something that we will release in the near future. We've got quite a lot of work still on that part, but this is still coming for you. So that is what I wanted to say on that topic. We will only release this when we are 100% satisfied with the results coming from Code Gen X. All right, and that was my last point. It was quite a lengthy campfire, probably because we didn't do a campfire in the last couple of weeks. But I think we still have 2 minutes left for if there are any questions with regards to what I've shown or in general.
Yeah, reminder that Eddie had that question about pasting HTML and CSS into NoCodeX and
Yeah,
how to get it to look, like the code shows.
yeah. So, Eddie, I've seen your question. My question to you is, have you pasted in all the HTML? That's one. Have you pasted in all the CSS? That's two. And does the CSS still match the HTML? Because HTML has these things they call HTML tag and body tag. These are the tags that are already included in the application of NoCodeX. So these should not be copied in the HTML component. You should only copy the actual content of the body tag, and then copy, of course, the content of your CSS. It could be that your CSS needs a little bit of tweaking after copying it. I don't know.
Hey Tristan, sorry, I'm commuting again this morning. But just because, would you mind going to Google Stitch and seeing the HTML that it spits out to you? It just pops up in like a minute or two, but it'll just give you an example of like the HTML that I'm looking at. You could just put in anything. Like for example, I'll put in, can you create a short landing page for a local dog walking company? Make the design colorful and include a contact form. And then it'll pop up in like a minute. And I feel like this Google Stitch does make some pretty cool designs pretty fast. So I was looking at using that, and that's the HTML that I was pulling from.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's web, huh? And then, yeah, okay.
And then it'll take like a minute to spit out. Sorry for taking more time, you guys.
No worries, Eddie. That's why we're here, huh? So it'll,
And I
yeah.
did eventually get it to work. I was using, like, I used I think Claude or ChatGPT, I think 5.2 or whatever the newest version was, and I got it to get me to a point where I would feed them this full HTML that you're about to get, and it
Yeah.
would kind of fix it up for me to where it would work within NoCodeX. But it took a while and a lot of back and forth. So.
Yeah, I understand. Now, while we wait, maybe I can tell you a little bit about what is on our roadmap I have no idea when we will be able to pick it up, since we have quite a lot on our roadmap, and I want to give preference to these friction things that we need to fix. But one of the things that we want to do as well is offer you an AI assistant that is actually hooked to the HTML component, which will also use Gemini in the back, because Gemini, as you noted, also Gemini creates some slick designs for you. But this AI assistant be added, will be given a little bit more context on how the HTML component within NoCodeX works and what is necessary to tweak here and there in order to make it work. So this will make your life a little bit easier with that regard. You can then ask the AI assistant within NoCodeX to actually create this dog walking web page, which will then show you as a HTML component in NoCodeX. So that being said, do I click here on edit to see
You
the
would click. You could either right click or click more, and then
like
copy.
watching code?
Or no, I went to copy as. So when you
Uh,
more,
Copy.
or no, when you right click. I'm sorry. You right click and then copy as at the top, and then I see copy as code. Or you
Copy as
could,
code.
yeah, or you could view code. It might be easier for you. I just don't know how to read.
Yeah.
But
Now if I do copy as code, it gives me now I have it copied it correctly, and then let's see what code comes out of it. Let's open a new file here in my file editor. So as we can see here, this is the entire HTML page, Eddie. So I would
yeah.
suggest for this part, just look where your body is and
Mhm.
just use what is in here, because this will for sure give you trouble when using the HTML component. HTML component is actually designed to be only a part of a page, and these are some tags that are on every single HTML page. So just try to copy everything in the body. So let's maybe try it real quickly. Um, and then you will probably have some work on the CSS part, which I'm not entirely sure. How I'm not entirely sure. Well, this looks actually already pretty good, I think. But let's try and get the CSS here. We've got some CSS here. Uh, this is it only uses. Is that correct that it only uses a small CSS and then all the rest is just actually this? Because if that's the case, then you should also add like a little bit of script here. But the problem here is, Eddie, I'm looking at this code right here. The problem is that this Tailwind configuration is not 100% the same as a Tailwind configuration of NoCodeX. So you would have to do some tweaking here and there by using the design system and looking at the code. So for example, here, primary, um, you could try and change this primary into orange. Let's see how that already pops out. So yeah, I'll have to probably I'll have to do, or maybe let me check real quick here. So because I was expecting these buttons to already have the primary color right now, so which is not the case, which is quite a bit of an annoying thing. So let me see pause and paths. have a text, and then book now. I'm looking for book now. Book now is somewhere in here. Okay, no, of course I can just search this. Book now should have shadow primary 25. Yeah, I actually think that things like this are, yeah, these are the problems actually, Eddie. What we actually generate is something in the lines of this, and what Google Stitch generates is something different. Now that being said, um, because this would then have to look already. I made a small mistake here. I should really look into this. But that being said, uh, this should be a little bit better once CodeGen X hit, because our CodeGen X actually creates more or less the same thing as Google Stitch. However, I cannot never I can assure you that it will be completely the same. But yeah, so as you can see, this is already a little bit better. Um, but I don't think there is a way of making this 100% super easy, 100% exactly the same. I can try though. I can try and add like a script tag to this HTML as well. Let me quickly try, and this style we probably will need this style as well. Uh, 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 um,
So
what
Tristan,
is
what's the core issue? Is it that the CSS tags coming from Google don't match the CSS tags that NoCode expects? Is that
Yeah,
what the
so
issue
the,
is?
so the biggest thing is here, Google Stitch does a good job and creating a page using I'm just trying to find my bust
Mhm.
cache link here. Uh, so Google Stitch does a great job in trying to create a page using Tailwind only. Tailwind
Mhm.
is a library that allows you to never ever write any CSS, which most people like, right? CSS is horrible to write.
Yes.
What Tailwind does is it's a piece of JavaScript that creates a Tailwind CSS file for you, and then you have this bunch of classes that can be used, and classes are being added in this way that can be used to style your application. And all the AI generators use Tailwind because it is much more semantically interesting than generating CSS. Um, um, but the thing here is, Tailwind also has like a theming thing built into Tailwind, where you can choose the theme, your own theme. You can choose primary, background light, background dark, park green, sunny yellow, and this is really custom. So this is really up to most of the AI generation software will have their own way of generating this theme. Just like NoCodeX has their own way of generating the theme. Also, we have which is really the problem here. So this makes it so that some things that you, and now I'm trying to find this particular page again. This makes it so that some things that you create here will not look exactly the same, and you will need a little bit more work to make it look the same. So that being said, it is also the case that we support Tailwind as being used in NoCodeX. We support that out of the box. However, there are particular classes at the moment included in Tailwind that are also custom and that also we cannot support 100%. One of those classes, for example, is Let me just look at this. Everything that has a look like this. Shadow primary is no problem, but slash 25, which means show me the primary color as a shadow, but use an opacity of 25 of 0.25 to show this shadow. We do not support yet. We will support this once CodeGen-X hits NoCode-X, because when CodeGen-X hits NoCode-X, we can actually create this Tailwind CSS in a very efficient manner to only include the classes that you use in NoCode-X, which is not the case at the moment. So to cut a long story short, the real problem is here with the classes that are being used by Google Stitch, Tailwind classes that are either part of the custom Tailwind configuration of Google Stitch or those classes that we do not support yet. So I am pretty sure, Eddie, if you make that same move that you've done by copying from Google Stitch to NoCode-X within a couple of months, when we released Google Gen X, I wish it was called like this, but it is not, CodeGen-X, then you would have a much, much better result than what there is today. But I cannot assure you that it will be a complete copy end to end. I cannot assure you that. I will never be able to assure you that. But I can tell that with a hand on my heart that this will be a better result once we release CodeGen-X. Is that
Thank
a
you.
bit of an answer to your question, Eddie? I know perhaps it's not the answer that you were expecting, but this is the only thing that I can give you now.
No, I appreciate that answer, and thank you for going through it. I just didn't know if, because in the HTML component, it's a lot of like add JavaScript, add CSS. I didn't know if I was doing something wrong on that end, but no, thank you for going through that.
Yeah, but I'm actually pretty surprised actually that it still comes out quite okay. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
perfect, but
yeah, it
yeah,
does look good. It looks good.
yeah. All right,
Eddie, I
super.
saw in your original question you had a laundry website. Are you looking at starting a laundry business, or is that just you testing Google?
That one was just another test. Yeah, it was just another test.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, just tell us when you're starting to launch because I have a lot of laundry to be done.
Same
Will
here.
do. Will do.
Actually, it's funny. I've known someone who did have a laundry business, and I've known someone who had a dog walking business as well, and they both did quite well. So you're on the right path, Eddie. Maybe you can do both. Pick up the dog, pick up the laundry.
Yeah, you can combine it.
House manager.
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. We're already over time. It's 11:15. Well, you had that one more question about the media library issue. Do you
Yes.
want to tackle that while we're here?
So
Okay.
I cannot tell you anything yet about what the issue is. We are still investigating the issue, and we are still investigating what can be done to mitigate this or to remediate this. That's a better word. So what is going on? Some workspaces, not all workspace, not all workspaces, to be 100% clear, the media library is not working at the moment. Now, what is working, if you upload new files, it will still work, no problem. Those files will keep working as well. But the files that you have uploaded before are not showing up. So we are still investigating where things went wrong and how we can remediate. So I hope to be able to answer this question with more detail because I've only received this yesterday and I've started looking at it, but I haven't found exactly what's going on yet. But I hope to be able to answer with more detail the next campfire that we have. So please know that we are working on this and we are making sure that this cannot happen anymore, and we are making sure that we can remediate where it happened. Huh? So voila.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much. Okay, before we break, anyone have any final questions or comments or thoughts or anything? Nope. All right. I know we went a little bit over time, but I thought it was warranted given that, as Tristan mentioned, we hadn't had a campfire in a while. So, but yeah, if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and break. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. As always, if something does come up, feel free to drop a message in Discord. That is something that we do monitor. And yeah, Tristan, anything from you?
Yeah, no, again, thanks for joining us, and yeah, let's keep on giving these campfires, hopefully packed to the brim with well, in the first couple of weeks, hopefully with getting rid of friction in NoCode-X.
Cool. All right. And sorry, I just saw Victor says great work. Thank you, Tristan. And thank you, Steve, also. Yeah, thank you, Victor. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. We'll see you all in 2 weeks in the next campfire.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys. Yo, yo.